Schizo on the beat.
My Schizo Season by Diesel Water. I fell into a dream and woke up in reality, it seems. This book is written by a schizo intended to recreate how my mind worked in the middle of an episode. All punctuations missed, sentences out of format, and words misspelled is to emulate. But is reality really the dream? The nature of your brain. Did I read that right? Reread. Well, that's not right at all. What is going on here? The characters in the story are fictional. Maybe, maybe not. Time is a lie. Sir, we need you back. Please come back. The voices in my head never stop. They are always persisting. Why am I hearing them? I've never known. My name is Darwin White, I think, or I thought. If you're confused, it's okay, so am I. The night was cold and dreary when I awoke from a dream that seemed like reality to me. There were people all around that proclaimed me to have a crown of thorns. Unknown, but I am no one's savior, of that I am sure. Why then do they look to me? It makes no sense. Who am I to be taken so seriously? I walked into a store not looking for anything in particular when something caught my eye. A CD of binaural frequencies. It made me think, what can I do with this? I can program my brain to think in theta stage all the time. Theta is the stage where your brain goes for imagination. The stage that your brain is in when you're too young to remember, but that's when you get all of your original thoughts from. Your parents or the people around you. Anyway, I'm rambling. I bought this CD to train my brain to be in a suggestive state all the time. Was that a good idea? It was at the time. Now that I look back on it, I'm not so sure. I bought this CD and would listen to it day in and day out. It's a subconscious thing. Repetition makes the neurological pathways in the brain create new synapses that allow you to create a habit or a new way of thinking. Out of the corner of my eyes saw the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. She was looking in the metaphysics section. Instantly, the endorphins started to kick in. Go and talk to her, I thought. Nah, she's way out of my league. Her smile lit up as she picked up a book she must have been looking for. The concentration written on her face as she divulged into the first page of the book. It was fascinating. What makes someone think that much? How could I connect on a level with her? My subconscious was screaming at me at that point. Go talk to her! Do you believe in fate? I believe that we will what happens next. To an extent, the universe has its plan for us, but what is it? Then fate. Do you believe your whole life has been entered into this program? You have ways to divert from the plan, but in the end, can you really get away from the universal mind that has been programming us since the beginning of time? Fate. Are we predestined, or do we make our own pathways? I don't know. I guess there's only one way to find out. I left the bookstore and walked down the street to a hot dog vendor. The best hot dogs in town. What can I say? I like my brains mixed with hooves. That's besides the point. I was looking through the newspaper they had at the stand, and I noticed that a flood occurred in Japan not that long ago. It was devastating. My immediate thought was, damn you, Harp. But what do I know? I'm just a guy that can't even talk to a girl that I know would have something in common with. I looked at the CD, started reading the cover. It was by Dr. So-and-so. It was supposed to unlock the secrets of your mind. I couldn't wait to get home to listen to it. I put it in my computer, copied it, and put it on my phone. It had every level of brainwave on there, delta, theta, alpha, etc. My new theory was about to begin. The delta mind. DHEA levels decline at approximately 20% per decade from the age of 25 until we are left with only about 10% or less of these peak levels by the time we are 70. Maintaining healthy DHEA levels may help slow physical aging and reduce stress. To begin, we started with the delta waves. 10,000 hours of delta waves, 8 hours a day for 3 years. If my hypothesis is correct, it will reverse the aging process, increase memory, and slow down the brain. GHRH is released. If what I believe is correct, then REM sleep will occur more naturally and frequently. If any of my theories are correct, this could change the future for human evolution. Because I'm not sure if I will act more or completely on instinct, I am teaching myself muscle memory for speed and agility. While I am listening to Delta Wave binaural beats, I am working out, reading, and studying to maintain mental acuteness. As we get older, we stop working as much, stop exercising, causing the growth hormones to stop reproducing. Hormones are chemical messengers that set in motion different processes to keep our bodies working properly. For example, they are involved in regulating our metabolism, immune function, sexual reproduction, and growth. Hormones are made by specialized groups of cells within the body's glands. The glands release hormones into the body as needed to stimulate, regulate, and control the function of other tissues and organs involved in biological processes. Most hormones are typically found in very low concentrations in the bloodstream, but some hormones' concentration will fluctuate depending on the body's activity or time of day. A hormone acts upon a cell much like a key unlocking a door. After being released by a gland, a hormone molecule travels through the blood until it finds a cell with the right fit. The hormone latches onto the cell via the cell's receptor. When this happens, a signal is sent to the cell. These signals may instruct the cell to multiply, make proteins or enzymes, or perform other vital tasks. Some hormones can even cause a cell to release other hormones. As we get older, the growth hormones stop producing. What if we could completely compensate by inducing delta waves into our brain? 16 hours in, no noticeable changes. I'm high a lot, so I can't always differentiate what is being high and the high given by the delta waves. Any one of these factors could play a role in my recent elevated mood, or all combined more than likely. A possibility of why Einstein was a genius. Studies have shown that sleep deprivation can cause increased waking delta waves. Einstein is reported to take short cat naps and that's it. Maybe, I have no proof, just a thought, the delta waves slowed down the brain, but the gamma waves stayed active and slowed down as well, giving Einstein more energy to have more thoughts and more waves. Diet consists of food high in healthy fats, protein, and vegetables, and 38 grams of sugar or less. Enough of that. Sir, we need you back. Please come back. Sorry, I forgot what I was saying. So I bought this CD and it changed my life. A complete 180. Started listening to it and time seemed to unravel. The delta waves were messing with my brain. Why did I need to go back? What was I going back to? The thought pierced my mind and I could not figure out why. Erasing the thoughts flowing through the mind, time is irrelevant. Time always stands still if you do not believe in the construct. But what do I believe in then? Is time irrelevant? I've known time my whole life. Why would I let it go? I forgot what we were talking about again. I awoke. The sun is shining. I laid there for a minute and took in the beauty of the light bouncing off the particles in the air. It is all encompassing. I look at the clock. It's already 7. I have to go to class. What am I doing? I get out of bed and try to find some socks laying on the floor. Nothing. What is going on? I swear I had a pair of socks there. My mom must have picked them up. Oh yeah. I live in the upstairs of my parents' house. At least it's not in the basement. Anyway, no socks. I went over to my dresser and found a pair all rolled up nice and neat. I love my mom. Found a pair of pants and a shirt. I was on my way. I ran downstairs and ran out the door. Hopped in my car, a beat-up old Maxima that I'd gotten off of Craigslist years before. It got me around, though. Off to school I go. I got there almost on time. Doesn't that count for something? I sat down at the table and focused on what the teacher was saying. The clock frequency and the transistor density increases have resulted in elevated chip temperatures. In order to meet temperature constraints, blah, blah, blah. I heard what it was saying, but nothing really clicked. It was a boring class, what can I say? Satire models that capture the thermal characterization of when is this class gonna be over? I mean, really, how long can he drone on frequency planning for multi-core processors? So finally that class got over. I had some time to listen to the delta waves. Time was irrelevant when I put in those headphones. The intense feeling of the frequencies pulsating through the eardrums into the brain, it was mesmerizing. Walking through the corridor, people all around me didn't care. I was in my own world where time was interchanging with the universe, making a deal on whether I would live or die. Walking down the hallway, I turned and run into my good friend Jack. I don't know if I would say he was a good friend, but he was an acquaintance. He gave me weed from time to time. I never bought it, always paranoid about getting in trouble. So yeah, he was a good friend. I knocked his book out of his hands and I turned. My bad, man. You're good, man. I helped him pick up his books as he straightened out some papers he was shuffling through. What's good, dude? Just got out of the most boring lecture on the history of sexism in the classic literature, he said. I feel you. Want to get out of here? Definitely. I handed the books to him and we headed to the parking lot. We walked in silence, but all I could think about was this delta wave experiment I was doing on myself. It's supposed to be about theta waves. I know, we're getting there. I had to start my experiment off the way we start off life. The first frequency we get is delta waves. As an infant, till about 2 or 3, we are delta beings. That's where theta comes into play. So I have to go through delta before I can go through theta. Anyway, back to the story. We got into my car and started to head to his house. Got green? Wanna smoke? Let's wait till we get to your place. Don't feel safe driving around here anymore. Not sure why, just feel a little paranoid lately, I replied. You're good, man, I can wait. I wanted to talk about my experiment, but I could wait till he's a little more open-minded. Ha! I laugh at the thought in my head of having to put quotes around open-minded. Like everybody doesn't already know what I'm talking about. We get to his house and walk in the door. His cat stares at me in the way cats do when they don't want you around. Never got along with cats, not sure why. I'm more of a dog person, Glitz feature text. Why the cat didn't like me? I don't know. Anyway, we sat down on his couch and he reached over to the side of his couch, pulled out a 3-footer and loaded a bowl. He lit the herb and took a nice long breath. As he exhaled, you could see the tension slip away. His shoulders got more relaxed. The tension in his face just melted. There you go, man. I took the bong and lit the herb. It had a sweet zing to it, almost like a berry. I exhaled and my head started to float. I don't know what strain that was, but it had a nice head high mixed with a mellow body high. It was good. Now was a good time as any to ask him about what he thinks about the Delta program. That's what I ended up naming my experiment. You ever think that time doesn't exist? Of course, man. It's something that people made up. It was a good idea, but in this day and age, time is so powerful it almost became an entity itself. It causes so much stress that it's killing us slowly inside. It causes diseases, man. If it's not a living entity, then how can it affect so many lives? He started getting a bit excited at the end. Apparently he feels very strongly about this. Good. He might just understand what I'm going for here. That's true. Okay, now what if there was a way to slow down time? I'm intrigued. Go on. Okay. So we all start in the womb with delta waves in our brain. You know what delta waves are? Basically the frequency of thought at the time. Yeah, exactly. From the time we are born till not really sure when, a baby is always in delta waves. Time is irrelevant to a baby. What if we could program our mind to think in delta waves all the time while gamma waves are still fully functional? It would almost be like being in a dream while awake but not knowing it's reality. Alright, I follow you so far. Except, what do the gamma waves do? The gamma waves are the highest form of concentrated thought. Alright, so you're in deep sleep but you're completely functional. Yes, exactly. In theory, should release the right chemicals in your body to retard the aging process. You know, you might be onto something, he says as he takes another hit and hands me the bong. On my way home, I thought of something that I'd never really thought of before. If delta is the origin of thought, then what comes before delta? It has to be energy, but then there's the question of what comes first, the energy or the frequency? I unlocked the door and went inside. My mom was sitting on the chair knitting with the news on. Hi, Mom. You're home. There's leftovers in the fridge if you want some. It's just hamburgers and coleslaw. How was class? It wasn't bad. First day back, gonna need some time to readjust and assimilate. Ran into Jack though, he's doing good. Good for him. I'm gonna go and study for a bit, then I might come down for some food. I'll be in bed by then, so I will see you tomorrow. Love you. Love you too, Mom. She went back to her chair and I went upstairs. When I got to my room, I immediately turned on the delta waves. I'm 100 hours in now. Every second I can, I'm listening to the delta waves. I can feel the tingle in my brain now when I'm listening. All those little neurons firing so fast, it's pretty cool to think about. I laid down in my bed and started reading a book on cellular regeneration. I'm trying to keep my brain as active as possible to keep the rest of my brain working properly. The delta waves start to kick in. My body feels like it's relaxing. A slight tingle under my skin. I must be getting close to REM sleep in my brain. My body was fully alert as I lay there reading about how cells communicate similarly to deep ocean fish. They use light to send signals to other cells, connecting them all. Imagine you make a phone call and reach somebody. The amount of time is almost instantaneous. Now you're a million times smaller and time no longer exists. They know what each other is thinking as they are thinking it, connecting them at a primal level. That's why gut instinct is so important. When you feel gut instinct 5 minutes before something happened, the cells know because they are directly connected to the universal mind. Time does not exist to them. They have neither the time nor the capability of caring about it. There is an automatic shut-off switch to all cells. When they get to a certain age, they automatically self-destruct. Now there are those that choose a different path. The cells that decide not to self-destruct live on, becoming an enemy to the body. The body doesn't know what to do with them and it will eventually kill you. Now imagine that all of your cells decide to skip the shutdown sequence and live forever. As the cells multiplied, you'd have an overabundance of cells because there are no end to a cell. The cells would eventually cease production of new cells. Every time a cell reproduces, it does so at 99%. So every new cell is slightly worse than the last, causing aging and deterioration of the body. So without reproduction of cells, aging would cease as well. In my research on the delta and theta waves, I discovered that both induce the production of hormones in the body that regenerate cells. We as people need sleep. Sleep gives us a chance to release those hormones. But we are awake for far more than we are asleep, so we still deteriorate at an alarming rate, actually. But that's besides the point. The point is, in theory, if I can train my brain to produce those hormones constantly, or at least most of the time, it should in theory retard the aging process. So I'm laying there reading this book, listening to my waves, and for some reason I think about the girl from the bookstore. Just an instant flash image, and then it was gone. I thought it was a little strange. My brain doesn't like to remember things that are not important, but the image was clear as day. Could almost see the green in her eyes. It was almost like a dream, though. A few seconds later, I had remembered that I had a thought, but I couldn't remember what it was. When I tried to think about it, I got a feeling in my body that it was something really important. What was it? My cells knew, though, and that it was something important. They were already connected to the universal mind. I gave up on trying. This is pointless. I dived back into the book. Waking from a dream seemed like reality. Blood-soaked hands hang low at sides. Mind racing to figure out what happened. Nothing. Giving up on trying to remember, slowly moving forward, it felt like eternity. Finally, first step has been taken. Now continue moving in the same direction. Again, slowly, air breathed, running slightly. Hair stands on end as cold chills move across skin. One step at a time, thinking but not thinking. One step in front of another. Walking down an old brick road, sound of footsteps echo through the alleyway. Hearing first the sound as it resonates from shoes striking brick. Then through the empty alley, echoing off the wall at the end of the hall, the sound reverberated back into the ear canal, resonating in the mind. Shadows leapt across the stone buildings, left and right, up and down. Piercing red eyes stare through the fog. Mind playing tricks again, walking again, moving in the same direction. Step after step, echoes subsided. A faint melody catches the ear. What is it? Soft and melodic tones flow through the atmosphere. Frequencies change with every note played. Must find the source of this beautiful sound as it plays in the background. Looking again to the left, eyes follow without ever blinking. Stupid mind. The shadows, though, were no longer dancing the same rhythm, flowing to beat given by the violin in the distance, mocking. Straight ahead, focus, step after step, time slowing as the music grows louder, enchanting. Slight laughter fills the air, the people watching, staring, looking to see what was demanding attention, turning right, seeing a stunning girl playing the violin. Swaying slowly to the melody, eyes closed, focus on the sound. Feeling with the fingertips, directing the strings to play the way they intended to play. The frequency's all encompassing. Walking left, must stay away from the crowd. Blood drips from fingertips, eyes watching all the time. Shadows dance, dancing to the rhythm in mind. Walking around, the fountain water trickles in indistinct patterns. My eyes open, I remember thinking, that was strange. It was so vivid. I could have sworn that I lived it. I remember every detail as if it was yesterday. I've never been able to remember my dreams that way before. Well, there's a first time for everything.
E, no falo, você